For this last example, we have to put a system of 3 equations together for a word problem. So suppose the local high school was performing a musical and offered different ticket seats. On Friday, they sold 200 orchestra, 30 mezzanine, 40 balcony seats for a total of $1,470. On Saturday, they sold 250 orchestra, 60 mezzanine, and 50 balcony seats for $1,950. And finally, on Sunday, they sold 150 orchestra and 30 mezzanine seats for $1,050. So we need to first set up a system of equations. So on Friday, what happened? Well, on Friday, they sold 200 orchestra plus 30 mezzanine plus 40 balcony, and that was for a total of $1,470. Okay, so that was just on Friday. On Saturday, they sold 250 orchestra plus 60 mezzanine plus 50 balcony, and that was for a total of $1,950. And the last day, the Sunday, they sold 150 orchestra seats and 30 mezzanine seats and no balcony seats. So that was equal to $1,050. So that's your system of equations. Set it up as you're reading it. Once you have it set up, then we just solve it the same way we did before. I switched my variables so that x, y, and z is a little easier. So we have to choose 2 of the equations and eliminate a variable. Now I'm going to choose z because z has already been eliminated here. It's going to make my life easier if I eliminate z. So I'm going to take equation 1 and equation 2 and I'm going to eliminate z. Okay, so that's 200x plus 30y plus 40z equals 1470, and 250x plus 60y plus 50z equals 1950. And then I need to multiply the top by something and the bottom by something. So let's multiply the top by 50, the bottom by negative 40. Doesn't really matter which one's negative, but one of them's got to be negative. And then we just multiply. So that's going to give me 50 times 200, which is 10,000, x, plus 50 times 30 is 1,500, y, and the z's are going to cancel out, plus 2,000 z. And if we multiply 50 times 1,470, we get 73,500. And on the bottom, my second row is going to be a negative 10,000 x, if you multiply, and plus a negative 2,400 y minus 2,000 z equals a negative 7,800. And that's my new system of equations, so I'm going to add down. So my x's are actually going to cancel out. That was kind of a bonus because we were trying to cancel out our z's, but they both canceled out, which is fine. And then 1,500y minus 2,400y is going to give me a negative 900y equals 73,500 minus 78,000 is negative 4,500. So I divide by the negative 900. And y is going to equal a positive 5. So that means our y seats are $5. Those are our mezzanine seats. We'll get back to that later. Now we want to solve for our other ones. So I'm going to find x by plugging it into my third equation, because it has an x and a y but no z. So I'm going to put my y into my third equation here to solve for x. So I have 150x plus 30y equals 1050. So I'm going to put 5 in for y, so I have 150x plus 30 times 5 equals 1050. So I'm going to subtract my 30 times 5, which is 130. No, sorry, 150. So I'm going to subtract 150. And I get 150x equals 1050 minus 150 is 900. And then we divide by 150. So x equals $6. So those would be our orchestra seats. And finally, to find z, we're going to put it into one of our first two equations to find z. So I'm just going to put it in here. So I'm going to have 200 times my x, which is 6, plus 30 times my y, which was 5, and then plus 40 z, and that's going to equal 1470. Okay, so 200 times 6 is 1200, plus 30 times 5, which is 150, plus 40z equals 1470. So 1200 plus 150 is 1350, plus 40z equals 1470. So I'm going to subtract, and I get 40z equals 120. Divide by 40, and z equals 3. So what this all means is that my orchestra equals 6. My the mezzanine seats is 5, and my balcony seats were 3. So that's your final answer. That's it for your notes over solving systems of 3x3 equations. Go through the practice problems. Make sure you can do these problems and create 3x3 systems with word problems, just like we did with 2x2 systems. You might have to do something like this as well. And then move on to the next video.